The NBA season is right around the corner, and in this video, we'll be naming the X Factors for all 30 NBA teams. If this is your first time to this channel, welcome, and make sure you hit that subscribe button for more NBA and fantasy NBA related content. And if you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up down below. Without further ado, let's get started. For the Atlanta Hawks, Jalen Johnson. He took a big step in his third season last year, showcasing his athleticism, versatility, and defensive prowess. He took his points per game average to 16 points, and with DeJounte Murray now gone, there should be more touches, reps, and shots for Johnson. Johnson is a young, versatile, and athletic running mate to Trae Young, and if Johnson can get his three-point percentage to a more consistent clip, Atlanta could be a sneaky wild card in the Eastern Conference. For the Boston Celtics, Kristaps Porzingis. Porzingis proved to be a gem for Boston when he was on the floor during last year's playoffs. The 7'3" Porzingis is a knockdown shooter, a natural rebounder, and an incredible shot blocker. The big if with Porzingis is always his health. He always finds himself dealing with nagging injuries, but lucky for Boston, they only needed him for a couple of games during last year's playoff run to secure the title. If Porzingis can stay healthy, there is nothing stopping Boston from repeating next year. For the Brooklyn Nets, Ben Simmons. We're already seeing social media videos and posts predicting Ben Simmons' return to glory next year. We know who Simmons is, an elite defender, ball handler, and passer. The issue with Simmons is his jumper. If he can turn his social media highlights into real court action, I don't see why Brooklyn wouldn't be able to sneak their way into the play-in. But if it's the same story for Simmons, whether it be health, mental illness, or God knows what, Brooklyn's headed for the lottery. For the Charlotte Hornets, Brandon Miller. Miller showed incredible potential as a solid wing in his rookie season last year, and probably could have made more noise if it wasn't for Chet and Wemby. Miller can be a great two-way player whose ceiling is as good as Paul George with his scoring versatility, playmaking ability, and defensive prowess. There's no reason why Miller won't be able to cross the 20-point average mark next year, and if he does, with LaMelo healthy as well, Charlotte could be one of the most underrated teams in the NBA. For the Chicago Bulls, Zach LaVine. All reports indicate that LaVine's injuries are finally a thing of the past. LaVine is still very much in his prime and should have a major chip on his shoulder heading into the 2025 season. The recent addition of Josh Giddey and/or the hopeful return of Lonzo Ball will allow LaVine to focus on what he does best: slash, drive, shoot, and score. If he can stay healthy, I don't see why he wouldn't average close to 25 points per game, which would give Chicago another shot at relevancy. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, Evan Mobley. It's time for Mobley to step it up. He's shown flashes since his rookie year, and Cleveland awarded him with a max contract last summer. Mobley needs to show Cleveland and the world that he deserved it. Defensively, he's an absolute menace. He just needs to develop a consistent mid-range and 2 to 3 reliable moves in the post. And he definitely showed flashes of this last year, especially in the playoffs against Orlando. If he can average 20 and 10, Cleveland can be a major threat in the Eastern Conference. For the Dallas Mavericks, Klay Thompson. The ex-Warrior will be sporting new threads this year, and Dallas needs Klay to be the solid perimeter defender and cold-blooded three-point assassin he was in Golden State to take Dallas to the next level. Luka and Kyrie will continue to highlight Dallas's offensive attack, but Klay will be the reason why Dallas is a 4 to 5 seed or the top seed in the West. Klay will really benefit from a change in scenery, and I expect a return to glory for the ex-Splash Bro. For the Detroit Pistons, Cade Cunningham. Cade is on the brink of a breakout campaign. Although his season was cut short again due to injuries last year, when he was on the floor, he was actually quite incredible, showing flashes of Luka, an oversized point guard with the ability to knock it down from the outside while seeing over the top of defenses as well as bruising smaller guards in the process. For Detroit to get themselves out of NBA misery, Cade needs to show out, and this is the year to do it. For the Denver Nuggets, Jamal Murray. Murray is probably the best non-all-star in the league today. He's the perfect sidekick to Jokic, a reliable scorer, pick and roll partner, and one of the best clutch performers we have in our game today. As a reward, Denver paid him the max contract this past offseason. There were a lot of skeptics of the deal, but regardless of the doubters, one thing is certain. If Denver wants to win again, Jamal Murray cannot be just good. He's got to be great, and I think he's got what it takes to be a top 3 point guard in the league today. For the Warriors, Draymond Green. Draymond is and will always be the wild card in Golden State. He's the heartbeat of the team, and his impact on both ends is invaluable. Defensively, his presence disrupts passing lanes, blocks easy shots around the basket, and shuts down all-star performances. Offensively, he's a true Swiss Army knife, the oil behind the Golden State engine. So long as Draymond keeps his head on straight, Golden State will continue to contend for championships. For the Rockets, Alperen Sengun. Actually, the two X factors for Houston will be low post scoring phenom Alperen Sengun and athletic wing Jalen Green. Both are extension eligible, neither have been given it, and Houston will probably wait until the end of this year to see who they max out, and it won't be both of them. Both of them made strong cases last year. Heading into 2025, both Sengun and Green will be auditioning for a max. In my opinion, you can find athletic wings like Green everywhere. There's only one Sengun. I got Sengun playing out of his mind and earning the max this year. For the Pacers, Andrew Nembhard. One of the main reasons for Indiana's success in last year's postseason was the meteoric rise of Andrew Nembhard. In only his second year, Nembhard offered solid playmaking, accurate shooting, and feisty defense. He was especially clutch against New York, draining a pivotal three at the end of Game 3 to seal the victory and eventually the series. He's one of the most underrated young guards today, and if he keeps it up, Indiana will prove that last year wasn't a fluke. For the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard. When Kawhi is healthy and playing, he's the best two-way player today. He possesses an incredible mid-range game and unworldly defensive instincts that cannot be duplicated. The Clippers lost some stars in Paul George and Russell Westbrook, but they gained complementary pieces to build around James Harden and Kawhi. None of that matters, though, if Kawhi is not on the floor. If he's not on the floor, the Clippers are nothing. If he's playing, they could easily be the top seed in the West. For the Lakers, D'Angelo Russell. The Lakers have two top 10 players in LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but to meet the incredibly high standards for the purple and gold, they need D'Angelo Russell to be a consistent 20-point scorer. He certainly has the capabilities. We've seen it in flashes last year. He plays with such calmness that can be deceiving, and when his three ball is on, he's one of the best scoring guards in the league. He determines the Lakers' success next year. For the Grizzlies, Ja Morant. After two very disappointing years marred by injuries and suspensions, Ja Morant is poised for a breakout year, reclaiming his status as the league's premier young star. Not only does he have a knack for scoring the ball with his incredible athleticism and unwavering confidence, but he also has a young nucleus of supporting players in Memphis that will make the Grizzlies just as competitive as any team in the West. They are my dark horse in the Western Conference, and don't be surprised if Ja gets some MVP consideration. For the Heat, Jaime Jaquez Jr. The UCLA product turned heads in his rookie campaign last year with his stellar play. He has a knack for scoring the ball, and he's an underrated on-ball defender. Miami didn't make any impactful moves this offseason, and the probability of Jimmy Butler returning after next summer gets bleaker by the day. If Jaquez can take a significant step in his development in only his second year, Miami can be better off than most critics anticipate. For the Bucks, Damian Lillard. Milwaukee saw their season cut short last year as both Giannis and Dame watched their team get beat by Indiana in the first round. Not only does Dame need to stay healthy, but he needs to be a top 5 point guard if Milwaukee wants to make a run at the title. He has the capabilities, unlimited range, deceptive quickness, and a knack for clutch shots and moments. He needs to channel Portland Dame this year, and after a disappointing first year in Milwaukee last season, I like Dame and Milwaukee's chances. For the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards. Can Anthony Edwards become the best player in the league next year? Simply put, if he can, Minnesota is going all the way, and Ant has all the talent in the world to make this happen. He showed flashes last year, and more than flashes in last year's playoff run. He can shoot, defend, handle, drive, and throw it down. The final step in his evolution is setting up his teammates more consistently, and he has a great core with Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, and newly signed Julius Randle to make that happen. For the Pelicans, Zion Williamson. There are still so many questions in New Orleans. Trading for DeJounte Murray, the future of Brandon Ingram, who's their big man? But none of this matters. Zion is the ultimate wild card. When he's healthy and on the court, we know what kind of force he comes with. Zion jumps and dunks like he's a high-flying guard, and he has the speed and strength to pair with it. If Zion can put it all together this season, it doesn't really matter how the rest of the roster shakes out. New Orleans will be a threat in the West. For the Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns. Towns is arguably the greatest shooting big man of all time, and his floor spacing will do wonders for Jalen Brunson's game. New York was also in desperate need of a center with Mitchell Robinson out until January, so this trade is great for them. Towns also won't be sharing the floor with another big like he did with Rudy Gobert in Minnesota, so I think Towns is poised for a resurgence in New York. If he can put together an all-NBA performance this year, New York can go all the way. For the Thunder, Chet Holmgren. The Thunder are looking like the favorites in the West for years and years to come heading into this season. They have an incredibly deep roster, but they will only go as far as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren take them. Chet specifically is poised for a breakout year. The signing of Isaiah Hartenstein will relieve Chet of traditional big man duties and will allow Chet to blossom as a versatile power forward. If Chet can become an all-NBA talent this year, this may be one of many finals-bound years for the OKC Thunder. For the Magic, Paolo Banchero. The Magic are at the cusp of something special, but to take that next step to a top 4 team in the conference, Paolo Banchero will have to take another step. After being named an All-Star last year, he'll have to sniff the MVP ballot this year to elevate Orlando to even greater status. He certainly has the talent as a bruising power forward who can get his own shot and defend the best of them. Some say he's still too young, but those in Orlando have been salivating at the opportunity. For the Sixers, Paul George. One of the more exciting additions in an NBA offseason was Paul George's arrival to Philly. He rounds out the Sixers roster as the ideal wing to play alongside Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. The fit seems unquestionable. George is a smooth operator on the wing, a long and capable defender, and a marksman from distance. There's no reason this shouldn't work. Philly was already a title contender, and the addition of George makes them the favorite. For the Suns, Devin Booker. At this point in Kevin Durant's career, we know what we're going to get. There's no expectation to turn it on even more. Booker, on the other hand, is in the prime of his career. Whether he's running the point or playing the 2, he needs to be the best player on this Suns roster. He needs to consistently average 30 and elevate himself to the MVP conversation. If he's able to do that, Phoenix can be the best team in the West. For the Blazers, Scoot Henderson. Scoot had a forgettable rookie campaign after being touted as one of the best young prospects in last year's draft. He holds the key to whether Portland builds around him or if they wave the white flag and tank for another high draft pick. I think Scoot has it in him. He showed flashes towards the end of last season, showing off his speed in the open court, his playmaking instincts, and his powering physique as a lead guard. For the Kings, De'Aaron Fox. I know all the attention this past season has been on DeMar DeRozan, but Sacramento only goes so far as De'Aaron Fox will take them. Fox has the ability to be the best point guard in the league. His lightning speed quickness makes him a terror in the open court, and he also has the ability to shoot lights out from 3. If Fox elevates his status as the best point guard in today's game, entering Shea, Curry, and Luka territory, Sacramento will sit amongst the best in the Western Conference. For the Spurs, Victor Wembanyama. It's simple. If Wemby is worth all of the hype, San Antonio will be in good shape for a very, very long time. And that answer will begin to be largely revealed this year. The addition of CP3 and Harrison Barnes are good, but Wemby needs to be that truly generational talent that everyone anticipates him to be. If he's truly a 7'6" freak that can block any shot, hit long-range bombs, and soar in the air, San Antonio will be playoff regulars, and this year will be their first appearance of many. For the Raptors, Scottie Barnes. Toronto is all in on Scottie Barnes. Not only did they trade away Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby midway through last season, but they also extended Scottie with a max contract this past summer. Simply put, Scottie is the face of Toronto's franchise, and he has to work out. He's a unique talent, a do-it-all forward that is poised to make his second consecutive All-Star appearance. If he does that, Toronto will be back in the Eastern Conference mix. For the Jazz, Lauri Markkanen. Lauri just signed a multi-year deal to stay with the Utah Jazz, and this at least means he'll be in Utah for the near term. He's a versatile 7-footer, having exhibited his ability to score from anywhere on the court, especially from distance. He's the face of Utah's franchise, and there will be plenty of opportunities for the All-Star on a nightly basis. So long as Lauri is hitting threes and getting buckets, Utah will continue to ride the endless wave of NBA mediocrity. For the Wizards, Jordan Poole. Despite adding solid complementary pieces like Malcolm Brogdon and Jonas Valanciunas to the roster, no one is expecting much from Washington. And maybe that's exactly what Jordan Poole needs to restart his Washington campaign. Last year was a disaster, and everyone has written Poole off. The hope is that Poole finds his groove as a talented scorer and willing playmaker. If Poole can turn it on, Washington won't be the laughingstock they've been relegated to for years past.